This video is supported by patrons like you. If you'd like to become a patron, please head over to patreon.com/Matt Jarbo. When you see a war happening in entertainment, when you start seeing a battle forming on the horizon, it's always fun to talk about because it's always going to be interesting to see how one mega corporation and another mega corporation battle it out for supreme dominance over the course of a weekend, right? Who's going to ultimately end up walking away the victor? And what we're finding ourselves looking at right now, and you may not agree with me and that's okay, but I want you to hear me out before you completely disagree. Netflix just took a major shot at Disney, and I mean a major shot at Disney, and that is releasing The Witcher on December 20th. They are dropping their most anticipated show of the year outside of Stranger Things on the same day The Rise of Skywalker comes out. That is wild. I mean, that is wild, right? We've known Netflix to take shots at competitors before. If you go back to 2016, there were talks that they were going to drop Daredevil Season 2 on March 25th, 2016, which, if you recall, is the same day Batman v Superman came out. Instead, they actually were respectful, and I think a lot of that was actually more Marvel's doing than Netflix, but they were respectful enough to drop it the week before. Because imagine if they would have dropped Daredevil Season 2 on the same weekend as Batman v Superman. It would have probably arguably cut into the opening box office numbers for BVS. And I mean that. I do legitimately mean that. And I'm talking about that from accessibility and time. People who wanted to see BVS would have gone and seen BVS. People who went and saw BVS more than once maybe would not have gone and done that. And repeat viewings on opening weekend due to hype is a real thing. I mean, case in point, Cloverfield. January 18th, 2008. I saw it first day, first showing at my local theater, went to my own work that night, my own theater, watched it twice again that night, went back the next day to another theater, took my brother to go see it, and we watched it again. I watched that movie 5 times in total on its first weekend and 3 times in the theaters where I paid for somebody to go with me each time. That movie spoke to me and I paid to see it a lot because I love it. And a lot of other people out there who are diehard fans of these kind of comics and these kind of movies are going to go and see these films. Imagine someone like the Eric Butts, for example, okay? Someone like the Eric Butts who did that reaction to Star Wars where he cried, okay? And I thought it was great. I watched the trailers and I watched him crying and I thought it was fantastic because it was heartfelt and positive. I really like that. So Eric, let's use him as an example here. Eric goes and sees Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker on opening night, on Thursday night, comes home that night and, goes to bed because he's got work or something like that tomorrow. He gets home the next night and he's like, you know what? I'm just going to chill. I'm going to check out the first episode of The Witcher. I'm just assuming he's a Witcher fan. I have no idea. I'm assuming he's excited. So he watches The Witcher and it's a good show and it keeps him engaged. He watches a couple more episodes. He gets kind of hooked on it, decides to finish up the night watching that, comes back the next day, decides he's going to continue watching The Witcher to get through the end of the story, but he decides to not go see The Rise of Skywalker again. Now that might be a bit of a stretch in regards to an example, but it's all hypothetical because knowing him, he would go see it multiple times. But the idea is there that a person like an average casual person who might want to go see Star Wars more than one time in a weekend. And usually I end up going to see these movies more than once in the opening weekend. Force Awakens, I saw it twice in the first 24 hours. The Phantom Menace, I saw twice in the first 24 hours back 20 years ago. Rogue One, I did this. The Last Jedi I saw twice, but that was because I had family obligations for the second one. So, I'd already spent the $100 on tickets for family coming in out of town. So I kind of felt like I had to go and see it again. Anyway, and then Solo I only did get to see once in theaters, but that's because I have kids now. So this one could be speaking to the average fan in a way that they might want to go see it again, but The Witcher could come out and just totally be that next thing that keeps them engaged for 8 hours. And 8 hours on the weekend is a big deal, right? It cuts into your time here, your time there. You have other things you have to do depending on how much of it you want to binge. You may not agree with me on this one, and that's okay. But since time and accessibility and monetary investment into things are a valid reason or a valid thing for what we do as people in our society, if you have the choice, I could pay the money to see Rise of Skywalker one time and then go home and enjoy The Witcher, or I could pay more money to see Rise of Skywalker again. If the movie blows you away, then you might go and see it another time. And it's going to be in over 4,400 theaters. So accessibility on getting tickets is not going to be hard. It's going to be running 24 hours in a lot of places for that opening weekend. So finding a ticket isn't going to be a tough thing. But if you're already home and you're comfortable and you're watching a show on your TV and you don't have to deal with people talking or texting or the annoyance of going out in the cold because it's winter, and you just want to hang out and like maybe wrap presents before Christmas and watch a show, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to binging culture. Binging culture is a big deal, and Netflix knows it. So, for example, when they talk about Stranger Things season 3, which opened July 3rd of this year, 8 episodes, people binged it. 65 million households around the world binged Stranger Things in the first weekend. 65 million homes watch that show right before a holiday, right before a massive major holiday. 65 million homes. That is a lot of people who are home watching movies or home watching television and not going out to the movies. And I know people out there are going to say, but Star Wars is a cultural event. It's a cultural phenomenon. It's an event movie. And yes, people are still going to go see it. It's still going to pull in a lot of money. But by having a good show to come back and watch, that's going to be binge worthy and perhaps even water cooler worthy when you get back to work on Monday, because everyone's going to go like, oh, Rise of Skywalker and Witcher. They're going to gauge it. They'll see Rise of Skywalker once. They'll watch The Witcher for the rest of the time. It's a huge, huge, huge thing. And I don't think that I'm wrong. I really don't think that I'm wrong here. Looking at how Netflix is now taking shots at Disney, right? Like it says that Disney is now blocking Netflix advertisements on its networks. That's not true, according to Bob Iger. That is Netflix pulling back. Netflix opted not to do it. Netflix is going to go after Disney Plus in any way that it possibly can. It's going to flood the market. It's going to kneecap Disney at every chance that it can. Watch for this. Watch for Netflix to have high profile shows that are going to be coming, and then look to see when Disney has a big release. Look to see when Disney has its next big release, and they're probably going to sync themselves up, because Netflix or whenever something releases on Disney Plus or whatever, they're going to go after that. They're going to go after that. But the difference though, and this is where Disney Plus is going to have an advantage over Netflix, is that, and this is going to sound super weird, but hear me out. Netflix, it does all episodes at once. So people binge it and they get done with it and they move on. They're testing variable playback speeds, so you binge more. It's a regressive move, in my opinion. Some people out there like it. I don't think most are going to enjoy it, but I think Disney, by dropping one episode a week and building up the community that way, and not being complete instant gratification and like, kind of slow build, is going to end up winning out in the end, because people are going to be watching that more, and then they'll go over and watch Netflix, but they're still going to be tuning in to the Disney shows when they drop. This is the beginning of the streaming wars, right? But what it is you have Netflix versus Disney. Nothing else matters at this point. HBO Max, I mean, outside of having just an insane amount of content coming when it drops in May for $15 a month, which is actually a pretty decent price, considering that originally it was rumored at $22 a month. So this is a lot better. It's Netflix v Disney at this point, at least for the next year, because Disney's going to pump so much money into marketing, so much money into advertising, so much money into getting this out there, so much money into the content that they're gunning for Netflix. Netflix already has the bigger install base. So what they're going to do is they're going to kneecap Disney at every chance they get, similar to how Kevin Feige likes to kneecap DC every chance he gets. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next. But it is Disney versus Netflix right now, and I'm this was the first shot. This was the first salvo. This is going to be the big thing. And wait for the numbers. Wait for Netflix on Monday after the release of Star Wars, that Monday morning, to sit there and talk about how many people watched The Witcher. Netflix is known for not releasing any of that information on certain shows. They don't release ratings info. They don't release any of the watch info, any of that data. But watch them come out and tout the watch for The Witcher as being one of the biggest shows of the year. And they're going to say that it's going to have like this accumulated time watch and things like that, because they're going to do it as a way to undercut Disney and undercut the Rise of Skywalker's box office, which is already tracking for a lower than The Last Jedi opening at just slightly over $200 million. So again, wait to see on that one. This is going to be really, really, really interesting. And as a fan of both, I'm in the middle with my popcorn going, entertain me. So I want to hear your thoughts, your opinions. Let me know down in the comments below. If you made it this far, go ahead and type Witcher into the chat so I know. Please leave a like. Please subscribe if you're new. And let me know if there's anything you want me to cover. You can hit me up on social media or just leave it below in the comment section. And I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day and peace out.